the thing is, the two championship leaders, Stefan Johansson and Kenny Atchison, are quite comfortable, have qualified quite a lot faster than everybody else. There's a gap of over half a second to the third place man, and this is rare for Formula 3 racing, where everything is so close and so competitive. You normally expect cars to be divided by like half a tenth of a second all the way down the grid. So we'll wait and see, because they're leading the championship. We'll see if their dominance is real.
We will indeed, because as the tail end men come through from Club Corner, the red lights are on, so it's less than 10 seconds to the start of the race, and the first corner at Campbell is the one to watch as the green lights go, and it's Kenny Atchison who gets in front, and so does Thierry Tassin, the Belgian driver in the Argo car, and it's Kenny Atchison in last year's March, the 792, 793, not the new 803, and Johansson locking up his tires. But Tassin, Thierry Tassin, the young Belgian driver in the Argo car, leads out of Campbell, Cobb and Seagrave, the complex. And Kenny Atchison said immediately before the start is vital at this race, because if Johansson gets away before me, I will have a great deal of trouble in passing him on this circuit. Well, Kenny Atchison, the very determined young Irishman who's now in the lead from Thierry Tassin, who is in second position and spins it. And a phenomenal avoidance, and that's Johansson who's gone off, and we're looking at now. And Johansson keeping it going, but look at the places he's losing. And that was a superb bit of motor racing, James, I think, by Johansson, who managed to miss Tassin.
Johansson did exceptionally well, first of all, to avoid the spinning car in front of him, and secondly, as a result of that, to keep the car pointing the right way on the grass. It's extremely difficult to control those little light single-seaters over the grass, and a fine piece of driving by Stefan Johansson, showing the experience that got him into Formula 1 for a couple of races.
So, into second position now has gone Roberto Guerrero in the Argo, the man who won this race at Thruxton, and into the pits has come Johansson. Johansson into the pits,
yes,
the man who's leading the championship. There he is with the Ron Dennis Project 4 team round him, magnificently organised team. And Johansson now getting out of the car, because it looks as though his race is run. You can see the whole of the front of the car has been damaged, not surprisingly, as he went marketing across the fields round the back part of the circuit, and that's cruel luck for Johansson, because he's lost 9 championship points. And look at the lead Kenny Atchison has got. Kenny Atchison from Ireland in the March 793, last year's car, which he prefers to this year's car, which has had a lot of understeering trouble, and Atchison's got this car set up beautifully. But now Guerrero, the Colombian driver, that's car number 4, 26-year-old Roberto Guerrero, is in the Joe Marquardt designed Argo, and there it is. Now, he was the man who won at Thruxton in the first round of this Vanderbilt Formula 3 Championship, and completing lap 2 behind Guerrero in third place. It's Mike White, the South African driver. In fourth place behind him is Eddie Jordan, the Irishman. In fifth place behind Eddie Jordan is Bernard Devaney. It's not, it's Brett Riley who is in that position. Brett Riley, the man who won at Brands Hatch. Bernard Devaney was due to start in this race and has opted not to, as he's got an important Formula 2 drive in the main race of the afternoon. But now, Kenny Atchison on lap 3 seemingly has got enough of a lead to be able to watch his mirrors very carefully. What would you be doing in this position, James?
Yes, at this stage, I think Kenny Atchison would be trying to extend his lead a little bit more. He'd be driving as fast as he can without taking any risks of a mistake. He seems to have the race well under control, but it's always nice to have a bit of a bigger cushion in case you get a slow puncture or something like that towards the end of the race. But sadly, I think it's a great shame we lost Stefan Johansson. Then we had a potentially very good race on, and it does look as if Kenny Atchison is really in command at the moment.
The very likeable, ever cheerful Irishman, Kenny Atchison. You can see the lead. He goes over the line now, followed by Guerrero, and that's about a 3 seconds lead as they go into lap 4. In third position, it is still Mike White. In fourth position, behind Mike White, it is still Eddie Jordan. So it's Irishman in first and fourth places, because Eddie Jordan too comes from Ireland. He's in a march. So it's a march leading and Argo in second place. You can see the field is well spread out now on the fourth lap in this 15-lap race. That's 35, just under 35.5 miles for the entire race. And the lap record is held by Andrea De Cesaris, the Italian driver, 19-year-old Italian driver, at a speed of 113.2 miles an hour. So Kenny Atchison, the man who was triple Formula Ford champion in 1978, who has got a racing father, Harry Atchison, and has only been in racing for some 4 years, during which he's made a tremendous name for himself, going down into Club Corner, the tightest series of corners on the circuit. See the way that he just manages to avoid the concrete curves as he comes through to complete the lap, and the gap between himself and Guerrero now is just about 1.5 seconds.
Yes, it does look to me, Murray, as if Guerrero is holding on very well. He doesn't seem to be letting Atchison get away at all.
Well, the gap between Atchison there and Guerrero there is 1.85 seconds, and there's a big scrap going on now for third position. And it's between Brett Riley, who is closing it, between fourth position, between Brett Riley and Eddie Jordan. Brett Riley, the New Zealand driver, who was hoping to go into Formula Ford. And there is Mike White, who is in third position in the march. That's number 11, 24-year-old Mike White. And behind him, the battle for fourth position. And there it is, Eddie Jordan on the right, Brett Riley on the left in the white car. They're both in march cars. And it's Eddie Jordan, the Irishman, number 7 from Dublin, although he lives at Brackley at the moment. And Brett Riley going through and dodging about behind Jordan, desperately trying to get through. Eddie Jordan holding the line, and this is coming up to the end of lap 5, and we're looking to battle for fourth position. And over the line they stream, and on the 5th lap then it's Atchison still leading from Roberto Guerrero in second place. In third position it's still Mike White. In fourth position Eddie Jordan, and you're looking at it now. And in fifth position Brett Riley, followed by David Sears up into sixth position in the Argo.
Over the next few laps, the leading positions remained the same, and we're going to rejoin the race now. It's about 2/3 of the way through, with a battle on for third place.
And they are on lap 10, 2/3 distance in this 15-lap, 35.5-mile race. And Brett Riley tries to go around the inside, now the outside, and he's got his splitter right under the rear spoiler of Mike White's car. Let us not forget that still in the lead is the brilliant young Kenny Atchison in the RMC March, that in second place behind him is Roberto Guerrero, the Colombian, in the Argo, and the battle for third continues between the two March cars of Mike White, the red one, Brett Riley, the white one. Behind Brett Riley are in fifth position Eddie Jordan, in sixth position David Sears, and they are battling for that place. Kenny Atchison leads. Coming up to the end of lap 10, you will soon see the gap. That's the gap between Atchison and Guerrero Guerrero is quite a short distance behind as they come up and complete the lap, and there's a changing place. Is it for third position? Riley trying on the outside, but Mike White will have nothing of it, and the watch is ticking. I'll be able to give you an approximation of the lap time and speed, therefore, at the end of this lap, as David Sears goes through, still in sixth position. Formula 3 cars, 2 litres, with constricted breathing. That is to say that there is a device which prevents too much air from getting through the fuel system of the car and therefore limits the power. But nevertheless, they are still very powerful and extremely quick, and as you can see, on comparatively narrow tyres.
Yes, I think Riley did a little bit better then by taking a more conservative line through the S's, which I think was a good thing to do then, because he could get himself better positioned to try and get a toe on the straight. You see, he's a little bit better positioned this lap than he has been the last couple of laps, because you've got to be quite close to pick up the toe. He's still, he's probably not quite close enough to take advantage of it, unfortunately.
Lap 11 this is. There is Atchison. Behind him, you see Guerrero. They're coming into club. Right, left, right. Atchison, of course, will be getting signals from his father and from his pit helpers. Over the line he goes, and the time 1 minute 15.77 as Mike White and Brett Riley go through in third and fourth places. Eddie Jordan is still in fifth position now. Brett Riley challenging. Brett Riley climbing all over Mike White's car, and now he's alongside him. Can he get through at Campbell? No, because Mike White moves across. Riley's going to try and go through on the outside at Campbell, and he's doing it. No, he's not. He's got a much longer outside line. And look, Eddie Jordan is closing up and through. Incredible. Did you see that? Eddie Jordan has gone through and taken the place from Brett Riley.
It's frustrating for Brett Riley, but he really brought that on himself, because he was trying to overtake, I think, in a place where he really didn't have much of a chance, and he would have been a little bit better off if he had the time. Of course, you're under a lot of pressure in a short race like this, but if he had the time to think it out a little bit better, and he paid the price, he got a bit crossed up and slipped another place back, which, of course, you know, when you're attacking in front, you still have your rear to watch, and he's paid the price of not watching his rear.
Well, now, tremendously confident Eddie Jordan, who feels really on top of his racing, I know from what he was saying at practice, is now moving up through the field, because there he is in fourth position, closing up on White. He's got Brett Riley behind him, and then David Sears is behind him, and Thierry Tassin, the Belgian, is right behind. There's Mike White, Eddie Jordan, there's Riley, behind Riley. You'll see there goes the car. There's David Sears, and behind David Sears is Thierry Tassin. And now Riley is going to retake, and he does so with comparative ease. That was where he lost the place to Eddie Jordan. He's regained it. So Riley is back into fourth position behind Mike White. And we are on lap 13 now. Lap 13 in this 15-lap race of Thruxton. Big crowd, super weather, terrific racing. Mike White third, Brett Riley fourth. That's the red car of Mike White, and there is the leader, Kenny Atchison, coming down to Club Corner to complete the 13th lap and start the 14th and penultimate lap in this 15-lap race. Second, Roberto Guerrero in the Argo. Now the battle for third position will come through, and in third position at the moment is Mike White. Behind him is Brett Riley. There he is, number 18 in the gold medal car. Eddie Jordan and David Sears, 5th and 6th across the line, and we are on lap 14. And Thierry Tassin, who is up with the leaders, has actually been into the pits, and Mike O'Brien is in 7th position at the moment. Lap 14, that's David Sears, number 3. Trying to catch up and take 5th position from Eddie Jordan, who rocketed through at one point up into 4th position by passing Brett Riley, only to be retaken himself by the New Zealand driver. And Kenny Atchison has only got what remains of this lap and the whole of the next lap to win and give himself 9 points. And that will be his first victory of 1980 if he wins, but there's still some way to go. Eddie Jordan and David Sears, 5th and 6th. A March in 5th position, and Argo in 6th place. David Sears, his first season of Formula 3, and ahead of them you see the battle for 3rd position. Mike White still got it, last year's Formula 4 2000, and a tremendously capable driver. They're into lap 15, which is the last one. Mike White 3rd, Brett Riley 4th, Eddie Jordan 5th, David Sears 6th, the leader Kenny Atchison, in 2nd place Roberto Guerrero. So an Irishman leads a Colombian and a March leads an Argo. The battle for 3rd. White, Brett Riley, and the difference between 4th and 3rd is 1 point in the championship. There's Kenny Atchison. 23-year-old Irishman. His first win for 1980 coming up. A man who is certainly tipped to drive in Formula 1 in the not-so-distant future. Terrific Formula Ford success with not one, but more than one championship, all in the same season. There is Guerrero, the quiet and very amiable Colombian driver. And now out of club corner for the 15th and last time to take the checkered flag and win, it is Kenny Atchison from Roberto Guerrero. He wins by 1.57 seconds. Mike White is going to be in third position because Brett Riley will not be able to get past him. So Brett Riley will be in fourth position. And then in fifth place, it's David Sears coming through. David Sears finishes in fifth position, ahead of Nigel Mansell sixth, as into the pits went Brett Riley.
I think Brett Riley must have had a brainstorm, because he drove into the pits on the last lap and straight out again. I think he must have thought he'd finished. Extraordinary thing.
So, yeah, and it won't be the last, I think, for Kenny Atchison in the march. In second position, Roberto Guerrero, the Colombian driver in the Argo, and in third position was Mike White from South Africa in another march. And a great drive by David Sears, something to be very proud of.